their reputations, the way Trump was forced to suffer under lawfare. Mm-hmm. Until there are consequences for their criminality, they will continue to operate. So there should be no more immunity, no more impunity. The other thing I would do is shift huge numbers of illegals into the sanctuary cities and sanctuary states.
Well, that's what's going to happen. They're going to do it on their own, Deplorabella. Don't you think that's what's going to happen?
Yes, but I would have party buses into special places like Martha's Vineyard. These people have to have their special communities, their little paradises in the middle of dystopia, disturbed profoundly. What they did to that couple in Missouri, having BLM right on their, trespassing on their property, threatening them, they have to have a taste of that. So that's one thing they have to do. Another thing that the law, under a new district attorneys and new people who will challenge Soros and a new AG and a new head of the DOJ, is go after the illegality of sanctuary cities. And I would drum up all the old bills that were passed to deal with secession and the Confederacy and apply them, because that's what sanctuary cities are. It's a special enclave of withdrawal from the laws of the federal government to permit lawlessness, and that can no longer be allowed. So I would use law the same way they did, only in this case it will be truly lawful and in accordance with the Constitution. Another thing they have to do, the DOJ should launch investigations of the Southern District in New York, the courts that prevail in D.C., and start investigating people whose conflict of interest is so clear, like mainly Soros funding, and they're elected on the basis of going after Trump, and not only get them out of their offices, but disbar them. There have to be massive disbarment proceedings, and Mark Elias should be at the top of their list. All the people, Perkins Coie should be bankrupt and their doors closed.
What about Letitia James? What about? I mean, the fact that she is the Attorney General of New York State is one thing, but the fact that she can still practice law, given what she's done, you know, maybe the purge of George Gascon in Los Angeles is a harbinger of things to come, Deplorabella, because perhaps George Soros' grip on our justice system has been loosened a little bit by the great silent majority who came to life on Tuesday. What do you think?
I agree with you, and there's one other very positive note. The inroads that Trump made in the bluest of states, where he only lost them by very small margins, should be hammered home. He and his surrogates should not only deny federal funds to sanctuary cities and states, but the pressure for the local tax burden that is going to fall heavily on citizens to fund the wishful thinking of pro-immigrant, pro-illegal aliens.
But that's it, and that's what I said, Deplorabella.
Do it.
The taxpayers are going to foot the bill. They're already footing the bill for the sanctuary cities, but they're only going to grow, and it's going to get the Demcoms are going to be more emboldened. You know what? If you voted for J.D. Pritzker or any of these other Demcoms, you know what? You deserve to pay. But as soon as federal funds are threatened, I guarantee you, Biden and Obama appointed judges are going to step in. Trump already tried to do that, and they slapped him down for it back in either 2017 or 2018. I have to look it up.
I would try that again more rigorously and vigorously with a real DOJ, because what they have done, even the colleges withhold funds from them. You heard what happened to two students from DePaul University. Jewish students were badly beaten the other day. In Amsterdam,
that's just disgusting.
Yeah,
disgusting.
The Israeli side. So this is a global phenomenon, and there can be no trips to Davos by anyone in our government. He's got to clean out, and I think Kash Patel at the CIA is brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Agreed.
And I would bring Rudy in to investigate the American Bar Association.
Deplorabella, I've got to move on. I've got so many calls coming in, but just let me say this. You would be surprised. Republicans who are considered stalwart conservatives, how many of them actually go to Davos. Take a look at the list. You'll be shocked to see some of the names.
Even Crenshaw.
Deplorabella, we're going to be covering this story from Amsterdam on Monday. I'm going to try to get Jonathan Feldstein on, and it's not only that. There were Jewish students attacked in New York City apparently yesterday. The anti-Semitism calmed down before the election. Now the election's over. It's kicking up into high gear. Deplorabella, thank you. All right, let's go to our next caller, Meineke, doing Car Care Right Talk Lines. Good morning. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right, Grizzly, go ahead, please.
Jake, I beg of you, please do not open this door with the big trucks. Please do not open this door. I drove for over 10 years over the road after I finished working for another company for 26 years.
Okay.
Some of the greatest moments of my life was driving that big truck. I lived in it. I was alone out on the highway many, many nights. I would see the lights in the cities as I drove through them, but never got to stop. But I saw the greatness of America, and talking on the radios back and forth up and down the highways with men. I led a convoy of trucks all the way from the northwestern part of Pennsylvania all the way to the New York line where the big trucks would split and move to where they needed to go. But all that way, we ran that highway. We took both lanes, and there weren't any bears around anywhere. They were all in the den. We ruled that highway, and everybody was talking back and forth to each other. Please don't open this door. It is going to be so chaotic and put pressure on those people who have to guide those big rigs across the highway. And you're going to release a whole bunch of idiots out there. And we will no longer be the knights of the highway. We will be the end of it.
All right.
Please don't open this door.
Grizzly, your opinion is noted, and that's what we do here. And I thank you for that. All right, let's go to our next caller on the Meineke Doing Car Care Right Talk Lines. Good morning. Welcome to your News Talk America on Digital Interactive Friday. Go ahead.
Good morning, Jake. This is Bob from Greenwood.
Hi, Bob. How are you, sir?
I am well. I want to give you an update. Yesterday I was in the parade, Return Day parade in Georgetown, and I have two big 4x8 signs on each side of my truck. And as I pulled out onto the parade route, the cheering started. And it was almost continuous all the way through the parade route.
Wow.
Or if it wasn't cheering, there was thumbs up and clapping. And that really, I never expected that. And then the other update that I got for you is my wife is getting phone calls from families that she worked with in the D.C. area. These are black families, Democrat families, that not just one person in the family voted for Trump, but the whole family voted for Trump. And I thought that was quite interesting.
That is very interesting. And I saw a graph just a little while ago that in the People's Republic of California, and this is why perhaps Gavin Newsom is calling an emergency legislative session in the Politburo in Sacramento to, quote, Trump-proof the state. So the next time they have a massive fire, why don't they just, California, handle it themselves? Why should taxpayers in other parts of the country have to pay for California, number one? Number two, 70% of the counties in California had increased Republican voters. 70% of the counties in California had increased Republican voter participation. You know what that means? California is starting to see some of the things that New York, New Jersey, and some of the other so-called blue wall states saw on Tuesday night.
The people are fed up with it, and they've had enough of this communist ruling. And if you hold the dollars back, somebody's got to make some changes in the way they run their states.
Well said. Thank you, Sheriff. It's good to hear from you again. You're listening to Your News Talk America. Again, if you hang out with us for the next 2 hours, we've got some great guests coming up, my friends. We have John Tobacco's going to be with us, John Glasgow, both from Newsmax. Gordon Chang's going to be joining us. Jeffrey Lord's going to be joining us. We've got Larry Sharp, Walter Kim, and Tyler Nixon going to talk about the huge shift in political power, which occurred just a couple of days ago. All right, let's go to our next caller here. Good morning. Welcome to Your News Talk America.
Hey, good morning, Jake. This is Jim in Milton.
Yes, Jim. Go ahead, please.
In response to Grizzly and the CB radio talk and your digital interactive, I really like the broadcast, the alternatives to internet stuff.
Okay.
I would really like to help people. Somehow you should be able to get people on CB to actually talk into your system. So if you could bring that whole group of people
you realize,
on the radio.
On our flagship station, 98.5, they have a truckers overnight radio show. Are you aware of that?
Well, not just can the truckers actually radio in?
Well, no, the truckers are calling in from their cell phones. No, they're not. They're not radioing.
No. Well, don't chuckle, because that's the alternative I'm talking about. Is the
well, unfortunately, the language that's used in CB radios today would make it prohibitive to pipe that CB. Those CB signals, or those Citizens Band radio signals, on the air. There's just too much bad language, unfortunately, Jim. But thank you so much for calling in this morning. All right, let's welcome in Joan from Milford. Joan, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to talk a little bit longer yesterday. The computer cut us off.
That's okay.
How is Bill doing?
Thank you for asking, Jake. I'll be real quick. They put a stent in his hand, but they found there's another one in his heart that they have to put it through his groin. So he has to go back as outpatient in about 3 weeks. And right now we're desperately waiting for him to be released. He's in good spirits. He feels better. He's on different medication. He's eating good. Excuse me for saying this, he finally went to the bathroom. You know how that is when you can't.
Yes.
He was a nervous wreck, you know. And he calls me every 5 minutes. He's
worried. He's worried about you. Joan, we've got to go. Thank you so much for the update.
Thank you, Jake. I love you.
The official talk radio station of the White Marlin Open, WGMD, Rehoboth Beach, Ocean City, and WUSX, Seaford, Salisbury. News, talk, and sports.
It's one less Biden immigration policy for President-elect Trump to undo. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A federal judge in Texas has blocked an executive order ruling that the president exceeded his authority with a plan to give legal status to hundreds of thousands.
Shielding undocumented immigrants married to U.S. citizens from deportation. The program, known as Keeping Families Together, has been on hold since it was announced by President Biden in August after Texas and other Republican-led states filed a lawsuit.
Fox's Jared Halpern. As President-elect Trump builds his next administration, he's making history.
We all remember last week Mark Cuban got himself into a bunch of hot water when he claimed that Donald Trump doesn't like to be around strong or intelligent women. Well, Donald Trump just hired the first female chief of staff for an American president in U.S. history. Her name is Susie Wiles. She likes to keep a low profile, but she is very well liked and well respected by Trump and his orbit. She was the co-campaign chair for this successful 2024 Trump campaign.
Fox's Bill Malugin in West Palm Beach, Florida. Israel's been flying some of its citizens home from the Netherlands after they were attacked by pro-Palestinian mobs after a soccer game. Kicked and beaten, 5 were hospitalized.
Amsterdam Mayor Famke Halsema says the Israel-Gaza conflict isn't an excuse for the violence.
It has nothing to do with protest or demonstration. It was crime.
A Dutch broadcaster reported that prior to the game, an Israeli visitor was seen tearing down a Palestinian flag from a building, though police say the rioters were actively seeking out groups of Israelis and were called out to numerous incidents.
As Fox's Evan Brown, a wildfire keeps scorching Southern California, burning down dozens of homes. Some lost almost everything.
I took a picture of my wife at the hotel last night, and I sent it to my kids, and I said, this is the sum of everything that we own. And it was a backpack, a carry-on bag, and a banker's box.
America's listening to Fox News.
You know, I'm a gun guy, Second Amendment guy, and I want to tell you about a family-owned company that I just love. It's Henry Repeating Arms. Now, they make more than 200 models of rifles, shotguns, revolvers right here in America. The quality's so good, they have a lifetime guarantee. The craftsmanship and smooth action, they are top-notch. I speak from experience. Every Henry I own, accurate right out of the box. They've all been reliable ever since. The best way to learn about Henry, get their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are and a great newsletter. Just go to henryusa.com. That's one word, henryusa.com. Click on the free catalog button. It's in the upper right-hand corner. And they even donate to our military and veterans and law enforcement and first responders, children's hospitals, families with sick kids. They do it all. And also Guns for Great Causes programs. Anyway, go to henryusa.com, get your free catalog, free decals, and a list of dealers where you are. Henry USA.
The station Delaware and Maryland turns to for local news. Here is another Delmarva news update here on 92.7 WGMD, WGMD.com, and the WGMD app.
I'm Bill Robbins in the Talk of Delmarva newsroom. The Food Bank of Delaware will start mass drive-through distributions in each county prior to the Thanksgiving holiday, beginning in less than 2 weeks. The first one is scheduled for Tuesday, November 19th, starting at 8:30 a.m. at Dover Motor Speedway. The distribution event in Sussex County is scheduled for Friday, November 22nd, starting at 8:30 a.m. at Crossroad Community Church on State Forest Road in Georgetown. You can find more details at talkofdelmarva.com. The City of Rehoboth Beach has issued the request for qualifications for a city solicitor. The role will operate as an independent contractor to the city, and the work is expected to begin between January and February of 2025. The city solicitor provides chief legal counsel to the city, which includes the city commissioners, city managers, city departments, and the Board of Commissions. Applications for the RFQ are due by December 2nd. The number of Salisbury University students facing charges for assault and hate crimes has gone from 7 to 12. Investigators say the victim was targeted because of his orientation. Detectives initially identified 7 suspects who were members or associates of the same fraternity. On Thursday, Salisbury police identified 5 more who were involved. Investigators say the incident happened at an off-campus apartment where police say they found cell phone video of an adult male being brutally assaulted by college-age men. Detectives who interviewed the victim believe he was invited to the home under false pretenses.
WGMD AccuWeather.
Sunny skies to wrap up the work week. 71 by mid-afternoon. Winds out of the northwest 7 to 14 knots. Seas 1 to 3 feet. Clear tonight, 45 degrees inland, near 50 at the coast. Stronger winds out of the north, 15 to 25 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. Low tide at Rehoboth Beach at 5:51. Nice day tomorrow with clouds and sunshine, little cooler, 58 by the afternoon. Sunny on Sunday, high of 62. For more on these and other stories, visit talkofdelmarva.com.
Dive into a sea of flavor at the Surfing Crab Restaurant, where they've proudly served the best steamed crabs on Delmarva for 2 decades. Open Wednesday through Friday at 3 p.m., 12 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Indulgent crabs by the dozen. Or order an all-you-can-eat feast, including hush puppies, French fries, and homemade coleslaw. Located on Route 1 Lewes. Call for pricing and availability and to pre-order crabs before they sell out. 302-644-4448. The Surfing Crab, where every day is a celebration.
Listen up, Delmarva anglers. The Talk Delmarva Fishing Report.
Brought to you by Complete Tree Care, licensed and insured. Request an estimate at CompleteTreeCareDE.com.
It's time for the Talk Delmarva Fishing Report with Eric Burnley.
On Wednesday, I traveled up to Englishtown, New Jersey to fish with my son Roger's Middle School Fishing Club. Believe it or not, but 32 middle school kids, boys and girls, were at the dock ready to board the Golden Eagle head boat at 6 a.m. on Thursday morning. target species of the day were striped bass, and the boat was pretty well loaded. When we arrived on the fishing grounds close to the Verrazano Bridge, we found the fish were feeding on sand eels. I, of course, had no Eva jigs on my tackle bag, which is just as well since the reel was crowded. Now I want to tell you, these kids fished really hard. The fish, however, not that impressed. The kids caught a few spiny dogfish and 5 stripers that fell in the 28 to 31-inch slot. They all had a great time. This is Eric Burnley with your Talk of Delmarva Fishing Report.
Broadcasting from the Carnegie Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
And a very good Friday morning. Welcome to the digital interactive version of your News Talk America. I'm your anchorman, Jake Smith, with you until noon Eastern Time today. And we're going to be getting to our panel in just a moment. My friends, let me just say at the outset that this has been an incredible week for the country. As much as we are relieved that President Trump has been reelected, will be sent back to the White House in January, we cannot take our foot off the gas. The great silent majority came to life, and we found that the great silent majority, the working class people, encompasses so many in this country. We have seen a massive pushback against what I consider to be the communist revolution, which was trying to destroy this country. Reagan began a revolution in 1980. The Trump revolution, perhaps more impactful politically than the Reagan revolution was back in 1980, came about on Tuesday. It's up to us, each and every one of us, to make sure that work that we've done, the flags, the signs on our lawns, the standing on the street corner waving Trump flags and wearing the hats and insisting that we save the republic, that cannot stop. That spirit of America first, that spirit that was influenced by President Trump and his courage, has to continue. Now, I want to welcome in Larry Sharpe, former candidate for governor in New York State. He is a husband, father, a United States Marine. Thank you for your service, Larry. An entrepreneur, teacher, political activist. He's run for governor of New York twice. In his first run, he achieved third-party ballot access with about 100,000 votes. Then the state changed the rules, and it took that away. Larry he built a coalition for ballot access between the Libertarian Party, Green Party, and Forward Party. He supports ranked choice voting and tried to stop one-party rule in New York, which encourages corruption and districts where people run unopposed due to the corrupt power of gerrymandering. Larry Sharpe, thank you so much for coming to our panel this morning. It's great to have you aboard.
Thank you for having me, my friend. I appreciate it.
Larry, I'm a former New Yorker, born in Queens, Jamaica Hospital, just like President Trump. We moved to Delaware, my wife and I. We lived out on Long Island in Suffolk County. And there was a tax that was levied against small businesses back in 2005. And it was to prop up the public transportation system, the MTA. And it was called a mobility tax. You remember that, Larry?
I do, very much so. Absolutely, 100%.
And I got the notice that this was coming down, and I called my state representative, and I said, this is outrageous. I said, we're not going to stand for this. We've had enough. We're just going to move. He said, you'd be better off moving. You know what? That's what we did. And we moved to Delaware. I sent him a postcard. We've arrived, and we're enjoying life. Larry.
Sadly, Jake, there are over 200,000 New Yorkers leaving every single year. You're part of a massive flood. It's true.
We've been down here now almost 15 years, and you know what? If I never saw New York again, it would be just fine with me, Larry. But let me ask you, your thoughts of what Letitia James did 2 days ago, standing at the podium and basically threatening President Trump. What were your thoughts when you heard what Letitia James did and what she said a couple of days ago?
You put a lot on me here, and I want to cover a couple of these things.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm in Queens right now. Literally, AOC is my congressperson. I accept the condolences. I accept the condolences, yes.
Yes, okay.
The problem that we have here is someone's got to stay and fight, because this is the front line, right? This is the front line. What happens in New York, sadly, begins spreading all over the country. So we've got to stop them here in some way, shape, or form. So that's why I'm still here, and that's why I'm trying to fight here. I live in Queens, so I'm with you. I get it completely. I was born in Manhattan, but I still am in this city trying my best to fight it. New York City, by the way, is a wonderful place to visit. You might not want to live here, though, as you said. We are losing over 300,000 every 200,000 or 300,000 every single year. When Letitia James said what she said, I was not shocked at all. This is exactly in line with what she's been saying. She ran saying she would punish Donald Trump, and she did. She is just like everybody else. I don't want to fix things. I want to create a boogeyman, and I want to attack the boogeyman so you will ignore how bad I actually am in all my policies. Not shocked at all, Jake. Not even close.
Larry, I'm not sure if you're as old as I am, but I remember we had an attorney general in New York State. His name was Louis Lefkowitz. You may have heard of him.
Yep.
He was, he was the people's lawyer in New York. He was not in any way political. He was an amazing man. He served, I don't know how many terms of attorney general that he served in New York. But the fact of the matter is, New York has really come 180 degrees from what Louis Lefkowitz was.
I'll go one step further, though.
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
Democratic Party has become that. If you're old enough, I remember it too. I remember a Democratic Party that was against censorship, that was against war, that was all about freedom of speech, right? I remember that party back in the 70s. That party is nowhere. You can't find that party anymore. It's
it doesn't exist.
Degrees.
It doesn't exist.
What? And let me. You talked about Trump. Let me bring this up if I could.
Yeah, please.
What Trump has done is he's brought together something that hasn't happened before. The Republican Party has a problem. It's a good problem, but it's a problem. And that is it has become the party of everybody, not Democrats. When you become that kind of party, that's challenging to put them all together, to somehow handle them. But you can only do that with a strong central leader, and I think Trump was able to do that. If we think about his coalition, Elon Musk, former Democrat, Bernie supporter. Joe Rogan, former Democrat, Bernie supporter. Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat, Bernie supporter.
RFK Jr. RFK Jr.
Yes. Former Democrat, decades-long Democrat. I mean, this is what's happened to the Republican Party. Again, good and bad. Good that it's become his coalition. Bad in that that's going to be a challenge for the Republican Party to kind of get all those people together to work. And why has that happened? Because New York State is the perfect example of a Democratic Party. New York State is no longer welcoming. It's no longer trying to help people. If you remember what my governor said, she said literally, if you vote Republican, you are anti-woman and anti-American. Come on, Jake, come on.
But she's not the only one. When Andrew Cuomo was governor, he basically said, if you're Republicans, New York is not a place for you, leave. Didn't he? Didn't he say that?
His words were, if you are conservative, there's no place for you in this state.
Right.
That's what
exactly.
he said.
Yep.
And then now she doubled down. If you remember a couple years later when she came on, she said, if you're conservative, get in a bus and go to Florida. That's what she said. And now she says, not even conservative, just Republican. She went even further. She said, if you're Republican, you vote Republican, you're anti-American. And the problem is in New York State, there's no way around this because in my state, you add independents and Republicans together, and there's still more Democrats. Democrats dominate the state almost 2-1. In my city, New York City, they dominate 7-1. It is very hard to move forward. It's why I fight so much to change the system.
You know, it seems to me that we hear nothing but inclusive from I call them the Demcoms, because I believe that's who they are. But the Republican Party, all of a sudden, and if you take a look at this headline from the New York Post just 2 days ago, leading to the best showing for a Republican in a generation, Larry, the Republicans suddenly look like the inclusive party, and the Demcoms look like the exclusive party. Tell me if I'm wrong here.
No, you're exactly right. And this is a challenge for the Republican Party because, look, you know this. The Republican elites from years ago hate Trump. Yes. They don't want him in. They don't want him around. They're like, we want to go back to when it was Dick Cheney and George Bush. We don't like this guy. We don't want this. But sadly for them, good for America in that the victory was decisive. That was a good thing. And by the way, while I have you, let me take full credit for the decisive victory. RFK Jr. was able to make that victory decisive. Trump might have won without him, but he would not have been decisive without RFK Jr.'s. So let me add some to that. Just give you a little bit of oomph on that one.
And that's a great point. But when we come back, let's talk about this is going to be the first coalition government that the United States has ever had. We don't need just Republicans. All right, go ahead. All right, maybe you'll tell me whether I'm wrong here, but
Lincoln.
Okay, that's a fair point. But we're going to go down that road with respect to is America going in the going embroiled in another civil war. Larry Sharp is joining us. Larry, you are a libertarian, I guess, a proud libertarian, right?
100%.
All right, we're going to be talking more with Larry Sharp on your News Talk America, Digital Interactive, and you're involved. Right back in a moment.
Here's a look at your Delmarva forecast. Ample sunshine expected today with daytime highs approaching 71. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 43. Sunny skies tomorrow. Highs around 59. Warmer Sunday and Monday with highs from the mid-60s to the low 70s. Showers possible both days. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center, inland. Right now, it's 66 degrees.
The Talk of Delmarva Fishing Report after the 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 4 p.m. news and sports. You are listening to WGMD. Mike Bradley mornings on WGMD.
Broadcasting from the Lincicome Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
Views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and not necessarily the staff, management, ownership, advertisers, or sponsors of WGMD.
Our nation's economic problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight. Dr. Ron Paul here, and this is why I recommend diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, a proven bedrock in any economy, with my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold. Text the word HEDGE to 989898. That's HEDGE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, Dr. Michelle Parsons here. Here at Rehoboth Medical Spa, we have been treating our patients with a new class of medications for weight loss, including Saxenda, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. All of these prescription medications have been extremely effective at curbing appetite and helping our patients easily lose pounds that they have not been able to lose before at affordable prices. We make it easy for you to lose weight and improve your health. Book your free consultation today at 302-227-1079. Rehoboth Medical Spa, where the doctor is the difference.
Rehoboth. Based on hundreds of 5-star reviews, Gun Shooter Enterprises is proud to be rated by Delaware locals as their favorite gun shop. When you walk through the door at Gun Shooter Enterprises in Millsboro, you'll be met with a knowledgeable staff and respect. Customers love the transparent pricing of new and used inventory, the in-house experienced repair team, and the firearms training classes. Visit them in downtown Millsboro with plenty of free public parking at gunshooter.com or call 302-663-0838.
Are the shoes you wear every day helping or hurting your feet?
Leave it to the professionals to find your perfect shoes. Hi, I'm Mary Beth Evans, owner of Rehoboth Beach Running Company. We offer a free total analysis of your feet and arches to determine the best shoes for maximum daily comfort. Our large inventory at Rehoboth Beach Running Company provides shoes for every speed. We're located at the Shops of the Culture Pearl, 301 Rehoboth Avenue. Give us a call at 302-227-4848 or check us out online at runrb.com.
Car Care Center Studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
You're watching your News Talk America, digital, interactive, with you involved. The chat room is extremely busy this morning. We've got new producers in the chat room as well. And our guest and panelist, we're very pleased to have him with us this morning. His name is Larry Sharp. He is a two-time gubernatorial candidate in New York State. And Larry, I don't know if you know Kara Castronova or not, but Kara is the co-host of Wise Guys on Newsmax. Tried in vain this past year to get her name included in the ballot for U.S. the U.S. Senate seat currently held and continuing to be held by Kirsten Gillibrand. The Republican machine went to work in New York and deprived her. She was in court battles in Queens. She was in federal court in Brooklyn. The system in New York, I mean, the Republicans can say all they want of how overmatched they are in New York State. But the fact of the matter is, they created this mess, and people like yourself are just trying to even the scales a little bit. Is that a good way of portraying what you're trying to do?
The Republicans sued me off the ballot the same year. I know her well. She tried to get on the ballot as a Republican. I tried on the ballot as a Libertarian. I went to court 8 times. The horrible New York State. I raised $400,000 as an independent candidate to get on the ballot, and that wasn't enough money to get in the ballot. RFK Jr. spent $1 million trying to get in the ballot in New York State, got 150,000 signatures, and they threw him off the ballot. Does not matter. New York State is an utterly broken system, and Republicans, Democrats join hands in this. And here's the problem, to be fair to both sides. If you go to some place like Oklahoma, Democrats do it too. When you have one party in total charge of something, that party becomes corrupt, and the party under it just takes crumbs. So Republicans do that in New York, Democrats do that in Oklahoma. It's how it works. It's embarrassing. We are at a point in New York State where most of the people locally run unopposed. My last two people who are Assembly and State Assembly and State Senate, they got 99% of the vote. That's Kim Jong-un numbers. That's Saddam Hussein numbers.
Larry, that's a great point.
Yes.
That's a great
I live in North
point.
Korea Light. That's where I live. I live in North Korea Light. That's where I am. So she is exactly correct. She should be angry. But let me be very forward. This is how Barack Obama got his first seat. He sued his person off the ballot too. Suing people off the ballot and lawfare is the way that the elites win. They try to do it with Trump. They try to put him in court. They try to sue him here and sue him there. They did it with RFK Jr. They sued him everywhere. They use lawfare and pretend they're being just. They use the law against the little guy and crush him. I see it everywhere. I get exactly what she's talking about. I know her. I want to see if I can get her in a Libertarian line. It couldn't work.
Sadly, she would have been a great candidate. But let me ask you what I mentioned before we went to break, and that is this may or may not be the first coalition government that we've seen, but it will be a coalition government. As a Libertarian yourself, are you pleased to see people who are effective or will be effective heads of various departments being included, even though they may not have an R after their name? Larry, what do you think?
How in the world can I be unhappy when Thomas Massie is going to join the administration? Come on. Thomas Massie is the most libertarian congressman that we have. Hands down, not even close. I wish he was a libertarian, but he basically is, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, he doesn't have the L after his name. He has an R after his name, right?
Correct. Same, but not with Ron Paul. Ron Paul, same thing. Ron Paul, I mean, he's like libertarian Jesus. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
well, you mean Rand Paul? Ron Paul was his father, congressman.
I mean Ron Paul.
Oh, Congressman Ron Paul. Okay, yes.
They're talking about bringing Ron Paul in to help out with Elon. How can I not be happy about this? Of course I am. I'm ecstatic about these issues. I'm very happy that's happening. And I got to say, it is a sea change. And again, I'll bring it up again. The Republican Party establishment is going to have to deal with this issue. Or, to be forward, you may see a lot of Republican neocons literally become Democrats. You may see them walk away because, again, because this was such a decisive victory. If Trump had barely won, if that was the case, maybe they would stay around and fight him and try to push back and all these things. Maybe. But his win was decisive. The neocons have to realize the party of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney is not the Republican Party anymore. And
no, it's Trump's party.
It is. And they may have to have, that's a tough pill for them to swallow. Some of them may actually become Democrats now. I think you may see some just leave the party.
You know, we've got a problem here in Delaware, Larry, where we had perhaps the highest Republican voter turnout this year, 75%. We usually between 47 maybe and 51% Republicans, registered Republicans actually come out to vote. We've got a ton of independents here. But Republicans got crushed on a night when Republicans did very well all over the country. And as a libertarian, what do you say to perhaps future candidates who might consider running as a libertarian to attract more independent voters? What do you think?
I think no matter what, you always focus on outcomes. You don't focus on attacks. And I think that's what Harris failed, right? Too many times you find independent candidates go, the system sucks, the guy is bad, he's bad. Harris tried that. It did not work. You have to have solutions. You have to have answers, right? Even if you don't like the specifics. What the Trump team did well, and it's going to sound crazy, in this 2024 compared to 2020, they actually provided hope. MAGA was Make America Great Again, and MAHA was Make America Healthy Again. In both of those cases, they provided hope. And to give the Democrats credit, when Barack Obama first ran, he was the hope and change guy. And we, as a country, we fell for it. We like that hope and change. We do. And in 2020, Trump wasn't as good projecting that. He was good in 2016 projecting it. He was good in 2024 projecting it. And I think that's what happened. If you're going to run for office, you've got to project some actual change. You've got to project some actual hope. You can't just go.
Final question, and I thought about this because Eric Adams is about to have even more legal problems thrust upon him by the Department of Justice. What happens if Eric Adams is forced to resign? He says he's not going to. I don't believe him. I'm sure you don't either. What do you think is going to happen as far as the mayor's office? And Mayor Giuliani is saying he might even consider running again. What say you, Larry Sharp?
The problem is New York State's 7-1 Democrat to Republican now, and more Republicans are leaving. Florida is a red state because New Yorkers have filled it. All the red New Yorkers went to Florida, and that's why they filled it with that. So New York State's still going to probably have a Democratic governor. Democratic mayor probably, but there will be a ranked choice voting, and a lot of people will be involved, which means at least we'll have a lot of different voices out there. That's a good thing, and that part I'm happy about.
Larry, tell our viewers and listeners how they can find out more about you. I'd love to have you back on the program. I really would.
Absolutely. You can just Google Larry Sharp. That's Sharp with an E. I'm the most famous Larry Sharp in the country, luckily. Or you can check me out on Google. You can check me out. I'm on YouTube, Facebook. I do a podcast myself almost every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want to check me out, happy to have you aboard.
Larry, Semper Fi, God bless you for your service to the nation as well, sir.
Semper Fi. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're listening and watching Your News Talk America. We're going to be welcoming in JT, John Tobacco, and John Glasgow from Newsmax to talk about their experiences over the past week. And John Glasgow was in Arizona. Perhaps he can tell me why Arizona still has not counted the ballots. How could this be? More of Your News Talk America, digital interactive with you involved.
Here is the marine forecast from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center. A small craft advisory goes in effect tonight. Plenty of sunshine for today with highs getting into the upper 60s to near 70. And on the water, northwest winds 5 to 10 knots, seas around 2 feet. The current water temperature is 63 degrees. At Cambridge, high tide at 8:12 a.m., low tide 2:48 p.m., and at Rehoboth Beach, high tide 12:27 p.m., low tide 6:59 p.m.
Hi, this is the Rehoboth Foodie. Join me on Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4 on WGMD 92.7, the talk, or rather, the food of Delmarva.
This WGMD Fox Business Update is brought to you by Sussex Environmental Consultants. For a healthy home, call 302-947-1810.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Airbnb shares tumbling after the online vacation rental platform posted a mixed third-quarter earnings report and issued guidance for the fourth quarter that disappointed investors. The company reported a 10% year-over-year revenue growth, but net income fell significantly to $1.37 billion from $4.37 billion the prior year because of a one-time tax adjustment. And Goldman Sachs pitching a personal CFO to the ultra-wealthy. For years, the private wealth team is focused on giving investment advice to the ultra-rich. Now it wants to organize their financial paperwork, manage their house staff, and find them home insurance. The family office is mostly aimed at clients with a net worth of at least $100 million. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Our nation's economic problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight. Dr. Ron Paul here, and this is why I recommend diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, a proven bedrock in any economy, with my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold. Text the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Broadcasting from the Panelists Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
You're watching Your News Talk America. It's Digital Interactive Friday. Great to have you aboard. So much to talk about. My friends, the chat room is as active as I've ever seen it. New names, new people participating. You can participate and be a part of this program, Digital Interactive Friday. Actually, you can be a part of every day's program, realnewstalk.com every day. My show notes, these right here. The notes that I put together, the prep for this program, we make available to you. So you can actually go on and take a look at the same show notes and read the same show notes that I'm using right now. So hopefully you get an opportunity to do just that. Again, realnewstalk.com. Larry Sharp talked about the fact that New York, one-party state, basically. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, yes, a lot of Republicans have packed up and left. This Republican packed up and left and never regretted it. It's just not a place where we want to live. I mean, we're treated like enemies. Donald Trump, they try to put him in prison. No one's done more for New York City, developing the most beautiful skyline in the world, than Donald Trump. And New York repaid him for that by trying to put him in prison. Not once, not twice, maybe more than twice. Well, we'll see. But the fact of the matter is that we, and I say as an ex-New Yorker, it just gets to the point where you don't feel at home in your own home. And, Larry brought up the fact that absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's what he was saying. And the same thing in my adopted home state of Delaware, where the Democrat communists rule this state. They are like one seat away from having a supermajority where they can sit there and change the state constitution on a whim any day, anytime they want, and no one can stop them. So the fact of the matter is that there are alternatives to Republican candidates, and I'm surprised that Larry was well aware. I did not know until he said he was well aware of Cara Castronova's struggle to get on the ballot for the U.S. Senate race to go up against Kristen Gillibrand. The fact of the matter is the Republican machine wanted a never-Trumper ex-cop, ex-New York City cop that got his butt kicked by Gillibrand on Tuesday. And I think JT is going to be joining us in just a second, and there he is. I got used to seeing you, John, with the Trump sport coat, so it's a little unusual seeing you like that. How are you, my friend?
So happy. I'm
man.
My tracksuit today. Celebrating for days, Jake. I was so exuberant yesterday that I logged into the Zoom room at 35. I'm like, damn, this is the first time I'm early and nobody's here now. What the heck is going on? I'm like, John, Thursday.
Well, you were so anxious to get on Digital Interactive Friday, John, that you signed on a day early.
Without a doubt. I'm never early for anything.
Oh, my goodness. I had Larry Sharp on the previous segment, John. He said to say hello to you, by the way. We were talking a little bit about the broken political system in New York and Kara's struggle to get on the ballot. When you see what happened this past Tuesday, Kara could have given Gillibrand a run for her money, but that's not what the big bosses in the Republican Party wanted. Tell us about that.
Listen, God bless you, Larry, a platform. Fighting an uphill battle at all times with the Libertarian Party. I was a Libertarian candidate for city comptroller in 2021.
Okay.
I give Larry a lot of credit. But look, Jake, I don't want to start throwing daggers right now. I'm still celebrating. We're still popping champagne. Tomorrow night, Scott LeBeo and I, months ago, we were having rallies with thousands of people for Trump, with no Trump, just Scott, myself, and some local activists. And we're going right back to where our last rally was. We're getting all those people back together Saturday night, and we're having a great Patriot Appreciation Night, and we're having
wow
as well.
I love it. Now, I would like to say, John, and this New York Post story, and I'll hold it up again, and I'm sure you read it on Wednesday, leading to the best showing for a Republican in a generation in New York. Young people, blacks, Latinos, women, working stiffs came out for Trump. But Kara Castronova, to her credit, over a year ago, saw this tide turning in the Bronx, of all places, John, correct?
That's right. Kara actually put a finger on the pulse.
Yep.
And that was one of the steps in a bunch of dominoes falling that led to Gavin Wax showing Donald Trump that video that Kara made that went viral. And then Trump said to Gavin, hey, can we do something in the Bronx?
Yep.
And from there, boom. And, what Trump was able to do, I think, was a long time coming. He was able to get to the people in those communities where most campaigns, they don't even bother going into those communities. And, when Hispanic folks and Muslim folks and black folks, when they see the guy with in New York, we call them coyones, to go into those areas
right.
that no other Republicans have ever come to New York 3 times in like 3 months, right? At the home stretch of the campaign, you're trailing in the state. But what he did was, as much as he could do for down ballot candidates, because as you mentioned, and I'll join you on this one, Mike Sapercone being the selected candidate by the New York State GOP significantly underperformed Donald Trump's numbers. When you're in the number 2 spot on the ballot, you're supposed to be plus minus right around whatever the president got. Most people go down, right? And I think, Jake, I'm faithful, but I also believe in karma a little bit. And, there was a bunch of dominoes in Nassau County that fell. They selected Sapercone. He was unqualified, and it showed throughout the race. He had no policy, he had no positions. Gillibrand smacked him around.
Right.
But he underperformed. And then it was Anthony D'Esposito, Marco Molinaro, and Lolota and Lawler who drew George Santos out.
Yep.
Right. opening the seat for Swazi. They passed by Kara for the Swazi seat. Okay.
Yep, they did. That's right, John. Yep.
And if Kara was either running for the Swazi seat or New York State Senate, she's from Nassau County, right in the Escondido's area. She would have been campaigning and getting those people out rather than some of those folks who were for Kara or who didn't like what they saw in Sapricone. They just didn't vote. And in some instances, they voted in Trump and left because they didn't like the next choice. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess from George Santos' standpoint, one of the guys who helped throw him out of Congress has now
gotten thrown out of Congress
by his own snake. You know what I mean? A snake by the tail.
The other thing about Sapricone, John, is it was well known that he was a never Trumper. He tried to backpedal on that, but he was a never Trumper. People knew that when they went into the polls, that he was not a supporter of Donald Trump.
He said in the lead, and before he was running, he said that he's not a good man, not somebody he could hold up to his children, that he's and he was also, anti-gun before he was running, Mr. Pro-Gun. But look, again, for at least more leadership in the New York State GOP. Kara and I and a bunch of other voters are persisting with a federal lawsuit that we just went to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, say that the election franchise is broken in New York State, and we have federal intervention to prohibit our legislatures from holding any more elections until they change some of the unconstitutional ballot access laws we have. And I think RFK Jr.'s team is probably going to be with us because they have
Larry Sharp talked about that when he was on previously. Yes,
with us. I'm for ballot access, whether it's for me or against me. If the constitutional Republican want as possible on the ballot,
John, we're having a little trouble with your audio, so it's a good time. Let's take a break and have you, if you can, have you sign back in again.
Yep.
Okay, and we'll be back. When we come back, let's talk a little bit, too, about we've got some questions for you from our producers, and we'll also find out from John Tobacco what's ahead tomorrow night, 10 p.m. on Wise Guys. More of Your News Talk America. We're digital, interactive, and we'll be back with JT in just a moment. Stay with us.
Here's a look at your Delmarva forecast. Ample sunshine expected today with daytime highs approaching 71. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 43. Sunny skies tomorrow. Highs around 59. Warmer Sunday and Monday with highs from the mid-60s to the low 70s. Showers possible both days. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center, inland. Currently, it's 68 degrees.
The Sean Hannity Show, weeknights at 9 on WGMD's 92.7. News on the hour on WGMD. Get the WGMD app online today.
Technology is essential in our daily lives, but with new advancements comes increased complexity in the workplace. That's where Goober Support comes in from Techno Goober. We offer IT support, cybersecurity services, and consulting, all tailored to you. We make sure your technology works for you. We are now offering the Goober One program, your gateway to VIP treatment. You get prioritized support, keeping your systems and computers running efficiently and reliably. Discover how we can simplify your tech needs. Visit technogoober.com to learn more about the services we offer.
TechnoGoober is your business solution, leading the way to grow your business this year. The answer is TechnoGoober. I'm Frank. We spent the past 10 years helping the businesses of Delmarva grow, providing websites, SEO, social media, and digital marketing. Not many companies have the experience and knowledge that our team has. It's a game changer. And if your business needs IT solutions, get the Techsperts at TechnoGoober. We can do it all and keep it simple for you. Don't worry about it. Get a Goober. TechnoGoober.com.
Every time you watch the Ravens game at the original Green Turtle in North Ocean City, you get a chance to win up to 3 pairs of game tickets. The original Green Turtle presents Ravens football on WGMD's 92.7, a Delmarva Ravens affiliate.
based on hundreds of 5-star reviews. Gun Shooter Enterprises is proud to be rated by Delaware locals as their favorite gun shop. When you walk through the door at Gun Shooter Enterprises in Millsboro, you'll be met with a knowledgeable staff and respect. Customers love the transparent pricing of new and used inventory, the in-house experienced repair team, and the firearms training classes. Visit them in downtown Millsboro with plenty of free public parking at gunshooter.com or call 302-663-0838.
At Bell House Medical, we're dedicated to enhancing the lives of aging adults and individuals with special needs. Our master grab bars are just the beginning. We specialize in adapting environments to foster independence, offering a variety of equipment designed to improve quality of life. I'm Steve Bell, here to serve those with reduced strength, balance, or mobility. Visit our showroom and medical supply store in Lewes, Delaware, or at mastergrabbar.com. Bell House Medical, your mobility partner.
Tune in this Monday afternoon after the 4:30 news as WGMD's featured guest will be Jim Fritz of All American Mortgage, specializing in reverse mortgages and keeping you up to speed with Delmarva's ever-changing housing market this Monday afternoon after the 4:30 news.
Listen to the Rehoboth Foodie on 92.7 and 98.5, Saturdays 2 till 4 p.m. Brought to you locally by Abbott's on Broad Creek, Laurel, and Brickworks Brewing and Eats, Long Neck.
Broadcasting from the Lincicome Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
Your News Talk America Digital Interactive Friday continues. Our panelists, JT, John, an interesting thing that Larry Sharp said, I want to find out if you agree with this because you live in the 5 boroughs of New York City, you live in Staten Island, but Larry said it's going to be very difficult for Republicans in the future to win anything in New York because so many Republicans have moved to Florida. Your thoughts, John?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm still hopeful, Jake. You know, I told you, back when we were doing the migrant protests and even, back to 2020, the lockdown protests, I hear that noise. I don't think it's on my side. I think it's on your side. But if you hear me, let me know. But to me, Staten Island has been standing up and fighting back for a long time. I told you the hill I want to die on because I want to stay. I don't want to run. And I think right now we're winning. So I'm a half full guy. I would say to Larry that our president performed better than almost any candidate in decades. I would say there are areas of Corona, Queens, and other places that never voted Republican who went like 70-30.
Amazing.
Republican, African-American and Hispanic areas in the Bronx that Trump won that would be unheard of. So, I think there are some, as Obama used to say, some green shoots popping up in New York. And you know what? Trump won. He has not even in yet. But I don't know if you saw Eric Adams ended the illegal immigrant voucher program.
I didn't see that. Oh, interesting.
Said, guys, those debit cards we've been giving you with $3,000 a month on them, we're not doing that no more. Okay? So, bye-bye. Wow. Okay? And listen, I'll tell you this. You'll probably hear it in a week or two, but I'm on the streets, like the lowdown. Some friends in the Bronx are telling me since Trump won, their kids go to public schools, and there were a lot of kids from illegal families, local shelters, schools, telling me Wednesday and Thursday, none of those kids are coming to school. And some people are saying that Trump said he's going to start with the deportation, that they don't want to be locatable.
Right.
And many people are trying to make a next move to Canada. So
isn't that, John, I knew that was going to happen. Some of them are going to just leave the country before they would have to be rounded up by ICE and deported.
Good riddance. We'd rather
absolutely.
Justin Trudeau can have them all.
John, I've got a question from one of our producers, Eric, who asks, of you. Is New York turning shades of red, or will the exodus continue and stay blue? Is there any chance of New York getting back to the great city it once was? Good question, Eric. John, what say you?
I think with the record gains and movements we've had, in historically Democratic areas, the family, the life, the faith vested in Donald Trump, borders and I think we have a new tent in New York. We got some weak leadership, if you ask me, who chose I think some poor candidates, but look, they worked hard, they raised a lot of money. They took New York last time. They lost a little bit of it back by some steps, but I think we have. I call it purple, Jake.
Okay.
Most people are, like I'm fiscally responsible. I'm conservative. I want faith. I want family. But I'm also socially liberal. There's certain things, if you want to dress up like a woman, be my guest. As long as you're an adult, do whatever you want. There's things that socially, I think people should have liberty to do whatever the heck they want on their property, behind closed doors and within the bounds of the law. I always say I'm a purple person because I got some red, some blue.
No, I understand, John, and listen, you're not alone. President Trump, before he was President Trump, was socially liberal on a lot of topics, right?
I think President Trump probably still is socially liberal on a lot of topics.
Yeah.
Before. And, all these things, women, gays, minorities, did more for the people in those communities than anyone.
Right.
And I think do it again. And that's why, I told you at the MSG rally, I saw a whole pack of gay folks, right?
Yeah.
Rainbow flag folks.
Right.
And they were all there, like with Trump gear on, saying we need Trump. And I'm like,
amazing.
And a homophobe, and there's these gay men like standing in the street, see him drive by in his limo.
John, again, at this point, who would have thought that it's the Republicans who look like the inclusive party, right?
I thought Roger Stone had the meme of the day yesterday. He said, I haven't seen Democrats this mad since the Republicans had slaves.
Say that again. You cut out, John. What did Roger? I didn't see that Roger post. What did he say?
He said, I haven't seen the Democrats this mad since the Republicans freed their slaves.
Well, that's a good question, because our next question for you, that's a good point. Our next question for you, John, is from Bob, Lewes, Delaware. How does the state of New York and New York City rid themselves of their Democrat politicians' slave masters, John? How do you do it? Just the way President Trump did it, right? Talking to the working class.
Yeah, I don't want to join in on the slave masters character.
Okay, but
I understand the implication and look, it's that fight back. Something that continue like Bronx and areas, Brooklyn. We made some good gains. I'm gonna fight to the finish. So I think Eric Adams has cozied up to Trump. Get himself.
They have a lot in common now.
Well, why do you think Eric Adams ended the voucher program?
Oh, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Listen, Eric, if you're good for your fun. Meantime, cut off all, throw out, make my job.
Well, I mean, he's been targeted by his own party because he bucked the system in the White House, and we know what's happened to him since. John, what were, and one of our producers, Wolf, wanted to know, why were libertarian candidates in New York State forced off the ballot? By what standard were they forced off the ballot? What was behind that?
It's an arcane set of rules to get on that work. You have to some legal check. They basically out of money legal fee. Can't win it. So like I said, if on a New York State G and the board demand what if we have it's this far and our for a person get on the
Yeah, John. You're unfortunately your audio is cutting out, but I think we understood what you had said. The system is broken, and the two-party system doesn't want anyone intruding, such as libertarians. Correct?
Look. They want a candidate. That's it.
Right. Sadly. John, can you give us an update? What's coming up tomorrow night on Newsmax, 10 p.m.? Oh, by the way, just want to let you know, I told Chris Ruddy what an outstanding job you have done, and Chris's response was, "Oh, I knew he was on a Delaware station, but now I know which one."
I played anytime, and I'm really fine word.
All right, John, we're going to have to let you go. Your audio is just as cut out, but hopefully we can next week. I wanted to make sure that our viewers this morning and our listeners could at least try to figure out what you were saying, even though we didn't have the best audio connection. At least we did get an opportunity to hear from you a little bit. And with that, we're going to, let's see, I'm going to, okay, you know what? Let's go to the chat room. And we've got a lot of activity. We've got a few minutes here. Jeffrey Lord's coming up next. We're going to try to get Tyler Nixon on as well. Tyler was supposed to be on with us with Larry Sharp, but there was a snowstorm last night in Colorado where Tyler Nixon lives, and it knocked out his internet service. It's back, so we will get Tyler on. Bob and Lewis says, Jake, the point of my question to JT is that Democrats impose slavery on all USA citizens. If that question is offensive to some, my apology. Well, no, I think he understood, Bob, what you were trying to say, but in this world we live in, somebody could take that word and that answer and twist it and make problems for John. Wolf, one of our producers, Wolf, says the high filing fees in Delaware are a national disgrace. That the filing fees to run for office. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's something in the area of like $7,000 or something for a candidate that they've got to pony up in order to get ballot access in the state of Delaware. He points out that the Independent Party of Delaware, known as IPOD, provides free ballot access to candidates. So that's a good thing to know. Now, one of the interesting points about the election, Marianne points out, and I heard this morning, Marianne, when we're rested, we have to get back on the train in 2 years. If we lose the House, Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker. Hakeem Jeffries is already chirping, Marianne. I heard him chirping on an interview that he did yesterday. Hakeem Jeffries is very dangerous, and he is not going away. Brian says he keeps losing the live stream. I don't know. We'll check that out for you, Brian. Thank you. You're watching Digital Interactive Friday on Your News Talk America. We're going to get set for news at the top of the hour. Then Jeffrey Lord, and I think we're going to have Tyler Nixon join us as well. And we'll have Gordon Chang joining us later on in the 11 o'clock hour to talk about the phone call between Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. That's going to be an interesting discussion with panelist Gordon Chang. I hope you can stay with us.
Is 92.7 WGMD Rehoboth Beach and 98.5 WUSX Seaford.
It's not just anti-Semitism, it's a crime. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News has what the mayor says in Amsterdam, where dozens of people are under arrest after mobs of pro-Palestinian protesters attacked a group of Israeli soccer fans.
After the game, footage shows Israeli fans being kicked and stomped on the ground, running, even jumping into Amsterdam's famous canals to escape.
Fox's Matt Finn in Tel Aviv says 5 of those fans were hospitalized. Others evacuated on planes Israel sent to the Netherlands.
We have now counted 6 additional emergency flights that have been scheduled from the Netherlands back here to Israel to bring home Israelis who are still in the Amsterdam area.
Now, 2 Jewish students were also attacked in Chicago, where Fox's Mike Tobin reports.
DePaul University says the victims were a couple of males, 21 and 27 years old, visibly displaying support for Israel. It's not clear what that meant, if they had T-shirts, flags, signs, or whatever. The attackers were masked. They punched and beat the DePaul students and knocked them to the ground. According to police, the attackers made anti-Semitic comments before running off. DePaul University President Robert Manuel put out a statement that the faculty is outraged.
From anti-Semitism to racism, the NAACP and several state attorneys general condemning text messages sent to black Americans, many of them students,
claiming they've been chosen to pick cotton at a nearby plantation and must be ready with their belongings at a specified time sharp. The messages started going out this week after Election Day. Authorities urge anyone who receives these texts to report them to their local police department or reach out to the FBI.
Fox's Tom Rigotti, the message text now says some of those messages appear to have come from its user accounts. A win in court for Republicans undoing a Biden executive order. A federal judge in Texas blocked it, siding with 14 states that sued, claiming the president exceeded his authority with a program to shield from deportation hundreds of thousands of immigrants here illegally who are married to American citizens. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, if you're in the market for a rifle, a shotgun, or a revolver, you definitely want to go with the best in the business. And as far as I'm concerned, that's only one place, Henry Repeating Arms. You're going to be amazed by the quality craftsmanship, the buttery smooth action. It makes them a pleasure to shoot. Every one of my Henrys accurate right out of the box. They've all been reliable ever since. Now, the best way to learn about Henry's 200 models, just go to their website. It's one word, henryusa.com. You'll get a free catalog. They'll send you free decals, a list of dealers where you are, and they have a great newsletter as well, and they showcase their made-in-America firearms. Henrys are backed by a lifetime warranty, 100% satisfaction. Made in America, not made at all. That simple. And if you have questions, you can call their award-winning customer service department. Speak with an expert that will help you. Make sure you go to henryusa.com, get your free catalog, free decals, a list of dealers where you are, henryusa.com, a great American.
Delmarva's home for local news, 92.7 and 98.5 WGMD, the talk of Delmarva.
This WGMD News Report is brought to you by the Cottage Cafe, serving daily specials every day. Check out their menu, upcoming events, and more at cottagecafe.com.
I'm Jerry Lademan in the Talk of Delmarva newsroom. 4 suspects under arrest after a store robbery in West Ocean City. Deputies say the thieves ran out with merchandise from the Under Armour outlet store Thursday afternoon. One of the suspects caught after a brief foot chase nearby. The 3 others drove off, but they were arrested after police deployed stop sticks to stop that pursuit. The suspects all face charges related to shoplifting. No weapons were used and nobody was hurt. A man from Dover behind bars facing charges after a multi-agency task force investigation of drugs and prostitution. Police say James Paz was taken in after search of his home on South State Street. That's where the officers report they found paraphernalia connected to heroin and crack cocaine, as well as 13 bags of heroin. Paz is charged with possession, maintaining a dark property, and 2 counts of human trafficking. He's been charged by both Dover and Delaware State Police Departments. He's being held at SCI at over $80,000 cash bail. Worcester County's Godelski Park is getting money for some improvements. The county says the $50,000 state grant will be used for beach replenishment and maintenance. The park is well known as a fishing spot, and county leaders want to keep it healthy for the long term. The money comes from the Maryland DNR program Open Space. Just 3 weeks away now from Black Friday and the kickoff to the busy Christmas shopping season. Local stores are hoping to get some of those holiday dollars too on November 30th, the day after Black Friday. Many of them are taking part in Small Business Saturday with special sales and promotions. They say big box stores and online sellers aren't the only place to score that perfect gift.
WGMD AccuWeather.
Pleasant and less humid this afternoon. Lots of sunshine, 71. Clear tonight, 45 inland, 49 at the beach. Cooler tomorrow, clouds and sun, 58 for the high. Mostly cloudy on Sunday, the high 62. More on these and other stories. Visit talkofdelmarva.com.
Friday at the Cottage Cafe means you can get our signature fish fry for just $16. Our delicious fish is lightly battered and fried and served with hand-cut fries, coleslaw, lemon, and tartar. Don't forget to stop in and see us on Sunday for our roast turkey dinner for just $16. Cottage Cafe located on Route 1 in Bethany Beach. Join us in the pub for happy hour every day until 6 p.m. Check out all our offerings at cottagecafe.com.
It's time for the 92.7 and 98.5 Talk of Delmarva Sports Report.
And good morning to the NFL and Thursday Night Football. The Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals doing battle in Baltimore in an AFC North divisional showdown, and this would end up being the difference of the game.
35, Lamar takes the snap, backpedaling, drifting to the left, running left, locked back in the end zone. Touchdown Ravens! Rashad Bateman on the receiving end.
That's Jerry Sandusky on the Ravens Game Day Network, 98 Rock and WBAL. The Ravens stop a two-point conversion by Cincinnati after the Bengals scored right after the Ravens did. The Ravens hold on 35-34, now 7-3 as they sit a half game back of the Steelers. Lamar Jackson, 290 yards in the air, 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. Running back Derrick Henry, 68 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Wide receiver Tyler Wallace, 3 for 115 and a touch. Out of the defensive line, Nnamdi Madubuike, 3 sacks in the win for the Ravens. College football last night, it was Coastal Carolina over App State, 38-24. East Carolina over Florida Atlantic, 49-14. To high school football, no downstate teams were in action last night. The majority of games are tonight, one game tomorrow, and that is Indian River. At the Maryland's Bayside Conference, one game last night as Maryland State playoffs underway. First round of the 2A East region as Easton and Parkside did battle.
O'Connor took a big hit. He's still in there. 2 to the right, 2 to the left. Hands it off to Dustin Blue. Dustin Blue off the right side. He's at the 15. Looking for the 10. Long. And he's in. Joseph W. McCartney Insurance touchdown. The 4th one of the night for Dustin Blue. I think the Rams just worn out. Didn't look like anybody was interested in tackling Dustin Blue on that play.
John Tomey and the coach David Ferragamo on the call in overtime live last night. Easton over Parkside by a score of 62-36. They advanced to take on the winner of the game tonight between the 7th seed James Bennett and the 2 seed Ken Island. Other 2A East region first round games tonight. The 1 seed Stephen Decatur hosting 8 seed North Carolina at 6. The 4 seed Queen Anne's hosting the 5 seed Wycomico at 7. 1A East region games tonight at 6. Washington at Perryville, and Colonel Richardson, the 4 seed hosting the 5 seed Stowe Hill, also at 6 o'clock. Back to the pros. No local NBA teams were in action. To the NHL, the Flyers in a shootout defeating Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1. It was Owen Tippett with the game-winning goal in the shootout. He also had the goal that tied the game in the third period that forced overtime and then the shootout. The Islanders double Ottawa 4-2 on the road. The Devils skate past the Montreal Canadiens 5-3, and the Rangers fall at home to the Buffalo Sabres by a score of 6-1. Mike Bradley, 92.7 and 98.5 WGMD Sports.
Broadcasting from the Lincicome Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
Welcome back to Digital Interactive, your News Talk America. So much going on, and we are joined by our good friend Jeffrey Lord, and also Tyler Nixon. A little late today to the dance, but Tyler's got a good excuse. They had a snowstorm in Colorado where he lives last night, and he lost, I guess he lost internet, Tyler, but it's good to have you on.
Likewise, Jake, great to be with you.
Let me just go first. Jeffrey, you and I were talking briefly yesterday afternoon when the news hit that Dave McCormick finally got across the finish line. What's the feeling in Pennsylvania this morning that Bob Casey, the career politician and son of the former governor, is going to be packing his bags in Washington?
Yeah, it is an amazing thing to behold, and it was very close, but I think it is done for sure.
I was really happy for Dave, and it took a lot of patience until they finally got to the vote totals to figure out. Yeah, go ahead.
Running against the Casey in Pennsylvania is not unlike running against Kennedy in Massachusetts. You know, his brother was a hugely popular governor.
Right.
And, famously, he was pro-life. And the Democratic Convention of 1972 made a point of refusing to let him speak because he was so pro-life. He gained a lot of points. He was very popular to the very end, and his son has namesake son, no less. Took his place, and got elected treasurer, auditor general, and then three terms in the Senate.
But now I think he's worn out his welcome, as it were.
Jeffrey Lord, former advisor to President Ronald Reagan, associate editor of the American Spectator, frequent contributor to Newsmax, and host of the Word of the Lord podcast, and a very good friend to this radio program and to me. And Jeffrey, I can't tell you how happy I am that we got to this point and that President Trump is heading back to the White House. You lived through 1980, obviously. I lived through 1980. But there's something different about this victory. How much different is this victory for President Trump than what Ronald Reagan achieved in 1980? Because the Republicans have become the inclusive party all of a sudden, Jeffrey, right?
Yeah, and I actually believe this began under President Reagan. The Republican Party up until then had a reputation as it was called, the country club party.
Yeah, the elitist, right.
And the elitist and all of that kind of thing. And it was President Reagan who opened up the door and brought in all these working class blue-collar Americans and really did a great job. And they called his supporters, his brand new supporters, Reagan Democrats.
Yep.
And I think that tradition is carried on, and that Donald Trump has become the torchbearer, if you will, for Reagan Democrats. Now they're Trump Democrats. And
isn't that
boy, when
interesting?
you look at the size and extent of this victory, it is an amazing thing to behold. And I could see it coming. As I may have told you, I had various speech obligations and all this around Pennsylvania. So, I was driving around the state, and the Trump signs were absolutely everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. People's front yards, billboards, electronic billboards. I mean, it was an amazing sight to behold. And I thought, yeah, I think there's a tidal wave coming, and that was correct.
Tyler Nixon, this political movement is unlike anything that we've seen in our lifetime, right?
Yeah, this is, and first of all, it's just an honor to be on with Jeffrey Lord, who's been a warrior for truth, justice, and the American way for so long.
Is there an S?
Honestly.
Is there an S on that under your jacket, Jeffrey?
Yeah, really.
I had brown hair when I started.
Well, I have to say that is the true. That is the real story here. Is not just the election of President Trump, but it is an affirmation of the true American coalition that has come together to elect him. I mean, it has been stunning, and I think so many of us not just feel confident in the future because President Trump has been returned to the White House finally after having the election stolen from him. I mean, in this, if you've seen that chart going around that shows the incredible spike in votes, the vote totals from 2020 from 2016 to 2020 and then to this year. But that being said, I think most of us, we all feel absolutely confident now that the American patriots exist in mass, and that what I've said about the Democrat leftist combine, whatever you want to call it, cabal, has been a Potemkin movement, Potemkin campaign in the case of Harris. It's really just a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing except damage to this country. And so many people, and the Reagan coalition has been, the Reagan Democrats has expanded far beyond to what Ronald Reagan envisioned when he was president, to I dare say it, to a true rainbow coalition, in the sense that it's brought everybody together. And it's just been so heartening, and you see so many people from so many different walks of life. This is the future of America, and we should all feel confident. And where the republic is now safe for at least 4 years, and I think for many years beyond.
Well, Richard Nixon called it the great silent majority. Two things. That majority is no longer silent. The people are out in the streets waving the flags, honking the horns, wearing the apparel. They're the apparel, the Trump gear. They're no longer silent. And on top of that, the movement has grown. It's inclusive. Latinos, blacks, young students at colleges and universities, Tyler, correct?
Well, yeah, exactly. And here's the thing: is back in the day. Look, I mean, people they would campaign, they would work for campaigns, but that wasn't broad. But what you see now with the social media engagement, I mean, with social media has its downside, but I mean, it has really brought together so many. I mean, again, young people are so engaged at this point, and they're fearless. This is the thing. Courage is contagious, and I think it's really Donald Trump has shared that courage with people from age 9 to 90, and it's gonna endure. And the thing is, we are what Reagan liked to call the happy warriors, or he was the happy warrior. And listen, we're going to enjoy our victory. We're going to savor the seizure back of our country from this awful leftist, again, combine cabal, whatever you want to call it. But we're not bitter people. We're not nasty people. We're not vindictive people. We will see justice, though. And I think the more we see of our country and our government being seized back from these criminals, frankly, I think the more emboldened and empowered the people will feel, and there will be more engagement and will return. And as I had said, I'm so glad to see that Donald Trump and the campaign started using it a few months ago. I think on your show, Jake, I said we could see a golden era of American politics.
You said that.
Yeah.
You did.
Yes.
And that's really what Reagan started in 1980, Jeffrey, right? That was a political earthquake.
Yes, it
in
was.
1980.
Yes, it was. And one other thing that I think is interesting about this, speaking of Richard Nixon was placed on the 1952 Republican ticket by the much older General Dwight Eisenhower. Nixon was 39 years old and a freshman senator from California.
Right.
And who knew in 1952 that he would become this Goliath of a figure for a quarter of a century or more than that, as it turned out, including 3 runs for president, two elections, all of this kind of thing, very, very much dominating the Republican Party and the nation politically. And what do we have at this moment? We have a 39-year-old brand new vice president-elect.
Great pickup there, Jeffrey. Yeah,
who is without doubt, I think, a serious part of the future of the Republican Party, extending long beyond the time we may be on this earth. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about.
It's so amazing. We've got to go to a break, but before we do, I just want to ask you both. This Trump derangement syndrome is now a resistance movement. We see Demcom governors from California to Illinois, the Attorney General of New York, the governor of New Jersey. They are all threatening President Trump. They are going to do everything they can to stop them. Isn't that, in a sense, election denial? Tyler?
Yeah.
Jeffrey, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Isn't that election denial?
Yes, well, absolutely. And frankly, I think the more they do this, the more popular President Trump will become. This will backfire without doubt. If you've got people who are supposed to be in charge of enforcing the law in these various states, and they refuse quite ostentatiously to do it, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, Tyler, I mean, look at, I call her Morticia James 2 days ago, threatening President Trump. You're an attorney. I mean...
I call her Droopy. That's what she looks like from the old cartoon. Seriously, listen, there would be, if they didn't have hypocrisy, they wouldn't have anything, I think, in that party. And, what they've done, and I think ultimately the agonies we've gone through for the last 4 years have served to sharpen our blades, to sharpen our movement, our message. And it's unstoppable at this point. I mean, it's all they've done with their double standard is to make us better and better, and to hold ourselves to the highest standard as well. And look, they can try this, but they're going to be rolled over just like Kamala Harris was.
Jeffrey Lord and Tyler Nixon have joined us on the panel. We'll be back with more of your News Talk America Digital Interactive, and you participating in this broadcast. More in just a moment. Stay with us.
Here's a look at your Delmarva forecast. Bright sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 71. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 43. Daytime highs approaching 59 tomorrow. Bright sunshine expected. Turning warmer Sunday and Monday with highs from the mid-60s to the low 70s. Scattered showers possible both days. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center, inland. Currently 66.
92.7 and 98.5 WGMD, where the news comes first. Jake Smith, mid-mornings on WGMD. You're listening to WGMD.
Broadcasting from the Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
Views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and not necessarily the staff, management, ownership, advertisers, or sponsors of WGMD.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite. It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out. Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, Dr. Michelle Parsons here. Here at Rehoboth Medical Spa, we have been treating our patients with a new class of medications for weight loss, including Saxenda, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. All of these prescription medications have been extremely effective at curbing appetite and helping our patients easily lose pounds that they have not been able to lose before at affordable prices. We make it easier for you to lose weight and improve your health. Book your free consultation today at 302-227-1079. Rehoboth Medical Spa, where the doctor is the difference.
Rehoboth.
It's that time of the year again. Are you prepared to protect your home and family in case of a power outage? Hi, I'm Mark Fry with Shager & Gas Company. Call Shager & Gas today to see how Generac Power Systems can protect your home and family. Shager & Gas will install a fully automatic Generac generator based on your needs. You can power essential items or the entire house. When you have a Generac generator installed by Shager & Gas, you will have peace of mind, comfort, and security in your home. Call Shager & Gas Company today at 644-7700 or stop by our Rehoboth or Millsboro locations for more information.
Tune in this Monday at 9:20 as I'll be live with Dr. Tiny as we discuss the housing segment. Learn how we can create housing options that work for everyone in our community. This Monday at 9:20.
The Wendy Bell Show, Sunday, noon to 3 on 98.5, The Talk of Delmarva.
Broadcasting from the Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
We're back with our panelists, Jeffrey Lord and Tyler Nixon. Tyler is Roger Stone's personal attorney. Tyler, John Tobacco was on with us in the previous segment, and I didn't see it. I usually monitor what Roger's saying, but yesterday apparently he posted, the Democrats haven't been this angry since the Republicans freed the slaves. I just did.
Free at last. Thank God Almighty.
Oh, my goodness. I got a question for Jeffrey Lord here from one of our producers, Eric, and it's a good one. Given the close race between Casey and McCormick, will there be a recount? I do understand that Casey still has not given up. He still has not conceded. Jeffrey, what's your understanding of what's going to happen?
I mean, that's entirely possible. Something like that is not unknown in the political world. And you know, one of the things you got to remember here, which has been both his asset and in this election his liability, is that Bob is a career politician. He's done nothing other than this.
Right.
And he came up from, a very political family. His father was a popular governor. His father had a very long career. His father was elected to the state senate, I believe, in 1962. He ran for governor in 1966, lost to Milton in a Democratic primary, then got elected Auditor General and stayed there, ran for governor again, lost, and finally managed to win. I think it was his third time out. So the Caseys are nothing if not persistent. And,
like father, like son, right?
Yeah, I believe
but now, this third term, I mean, clearly to be defeated like that, I think people felt, it was time for a change. So I think it's over. And if they have a recount, I don't know that that's going to do very much.
Tyler?
Well, I was going to say, I think Casey also ran senior Casey ran Kennedy's campaign in Pennsylvania in '60, or was certainly part of it. And this is another major event here because that has been a dynasty in that state for decades, and it also signifies, I think, the final end to the last of the so-called moderate Democrats, if you could find any. I think Casey was the last of those, and since the Democrat Party didn't do away with him, the Republican Party finally came along and got him out of there. So I think the capture of the Democrat Party by the Marxist leftist coalition, if you want to call it that, is complete now with the demise of Bob Casey.
And one other interesting thing here is that Bob Casey Sr. was, as I was mentioning, extremely notable because he was pro-life. And what did we see in this election cycle?
Abortion.
Namesake son running ads against David McCormick because he was pro-life.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, what are your
slouching towards Gomorrah, as Judge Bork's book was aptly titled.
Susie Wiles, how do you think she's going to do as a White House Chief of Staff, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I confess I don't know her well. I was at an event, one of these behind-the-scenes things, and I said something to then candidate Trump, and he turned immediately to his right and said, "Susie, listen to this."
Oh, really?
So
she's called Trump's secret weapon. That's what she's called,
It was clear to me on the spot that this is somebody that whose judgment he values, whose judgment he trusts, etc. And that is, I can tell you, having worked in the White House, that is exactly the kind of relationship you want a president to have with his chief of staff. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. President Reagan had a very hard time with with Don Regan.
Yep. Well, Nancy didn't like him.
Yeah.
Well, you were there when she called him on the phone or something, and he hung up on her. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And all of us are going, he what?
I don't know what he was thinking, trying to get in a standoff with Nancy, thinking he was going to win that one.
Very true.
Goodness. I mean, it was an amazing sight to behold. And, I had a personal take on this because at the time I was working for Drew Lewes. Drew,
former transportation secretary,
former transportation secretary. But Drew had come up through the Pennsylvania political system. He was a wealthy Montgomery County businessman. The 1974 GOP nominee for governor. He lost the race, but he played a key role in getting Reagan elected and was made Secretary of Transportation. In the second term, there was much talk that Jim Baker was going to leave. He'd been the White House Chief of Staff because he wanted a cabinet post, and that Drew would replace him as Chief of Staff. Well, we all thought this was going to happen. He even got a phone call, as I recall, from Ed Meese, who was very close to the president, and said, "Your next stop is La Casa Blanca." Well, one fine day, I'm in my office, which is right outside of his, at his where he was the CEO of a company called Warner Amex Cable TV, the predecessor of Time Warner. "Jeffer, come in here." I race into his office, look at the television. He says, he points to the television set. There is Reagan in the White House, flanked by Jim Baker and Don Regan. to announce that they're swapping positions.
Yeah.
And Don Regan, a good soul and all that, but he'd been the CEO of Merrill Lynch. He had no political background. This just was not.
He was rough around the edges. There's no question about it, Jeffrey.
Yes,
right?
and Drew got a call from Jim Baker a little later in the day, and he said, "Well, I think it's a good thing for you, but I'm not so sure it's a good thing for the president." As things turned out, and by then I was in the White House, Drew said to me, "Well, clearly I'm not going, but if you want to go."
Oh, my gosh.
Said, yeah, I do. So in I went, and it just didn't end well for Don Regan, and Reagan wound up firing him, and it was a mess.
Yep. Tyler,
so, my point is that Susie Wiles sounds to me exactly like the kind of Drew Lewes, Jim Baker person that a president needs, somebody that has the instinctive trust of the president. That's a good thing.
And she's also got the stagecraft abilities of Mike Deaver. I mean, honestly, she's got it all, really. If you look at that campaign, was run like a well-oiled machine, and it's going to make such an incredible difference, I think. You'll see, compared to having, say, John Kelly or the succession of Grizzlings, really, that President Trump suffered under his first term.
Tyler, maybe next week we can get you back to talk about Kash Patel apparently taking over as CIA chief.
Wow,
that's enormous. Did you hear that?
I did not heard that yet.
Yeah, Jim Hoft of the Gateway Pundit posted it last. He posted it last night. Excuse me.
I've met Kash a few times.
He's a great guy.
And moderated a panel with him, and wow, he is one very sharp guy. I think that would be a great appointment.
Yeah, he's just the sort of hard charger you're going to need. No nonsense, doesn't take any bull that you would need in that position.
And
I'll tell you what, there must be heads exploded all over Langley in Northern Virginia right now.
And
Tyler,
another great idea would be Vivek Ramaswamy.
I think you're going to see that.
Somewhere,
happening.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. We'll be talking to you soon. Tyler, thank you. I'll be talking to you as well. You're watching Your News Talk America. Gordon Chang is on deck. I'm looking at Gordon right now. Hello, Gordon. And we'll be talking to him in just a moment about that infamous phone call yesterday between President Trump and President Xi Jinping of China. More with your news on Your News Talk America in just a moment. Stay with us.
Here is the marine forecast from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center. A small craft advisory goes in effect tonight. Plenty of sunshine for today with highs getting into the upper 60s to near 70. And on the water, northwest winds 5 to 10 knots, seas around 2 feet. The current water temperature is 63 degrees. At Cambridge, high tide at 8:12 a.m., low tide 2:48 p.m. And at Rehoboth Beach, high tide 12:27 p.m., low tide 6:59 p.m.
The Talk of Delmarva Fishing Report with veteran fishing reporter, broadcaster, and local salt Eric Burnley on 92.7 and 98.5. The Talk of Delmarva.
This WGMD Fox Business Update is brought to you by Sussex Environmental Consultants. For a healthy home, call 302-947-1810.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Optimism about the economy continues to rise. The Consumer Sentiment Index up for the fourth month in a row, showing Americans were the most optimistic about the economy since 2021. The University of Michigan saying the first of 2 readings in November of consumer sentiment rose to 73 from 70.5 in the prior month. An article in the Wall Street Journal says some consumers are questioning whether these luxury brands with a lot steeper price tags and in some cases no improvement in quality are worth the prices they charge. It also points out that one study found for every $5,000 increase in the price of luxury goods, the brand's logo shrinks by a centimeter. In other words, the ultra-rich buy the costliest, most discreet luxury brands. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Our nation's economic problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight. Dr. Ron Powell here, and this is why I recommend diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, a proven bedrock in any economy, with my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold. Text the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Broadcasting from the Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
Welcome back to the digital interactive version of Friday's Your News Talk America. And we're very pleased and honored to have with us someone who's been a very good friend to this broadcast. His name is Gordon Chang. Gordon's latest book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Gordon, that book seems to be right, spot on, in just the nick of time. And I'm so glad you could be on with us this morning. By the way, you can follow Gordon, I do, on X at Gordon G. Chang. Gordon, welcome back, and so good to have you on our Friday digital interactive broadcast. Tell us about that phone call yesterday between President Trump and Xi Jinping.
That phone call wasn't particularly friendly on the part of Xi Jinping. What he said was, well, look, our two countries should figure out how to get along in the new era. Now, in the new era is Xi Jinping's speak for China's domination of the world. So really what he was saying was the United States needs to know its place in Xi Jinping speak. And so really what we're talking about is a China which believes it should rule the world and that the United States should just move aside.
How has the election of President Trump changed the plans or the timing of what China has in mind for Taiwan, Gordon, in your opinion?
I think that Xi Jinping is very wary of Donald Trump. And we're starting to see some very interesting phenomena. So, for instance, in the last week, but especially after the election, China's been very quiet in its peripheral seas, which means that it is not bothering its neighbors, such as Taiwan, Japan, the Philippines, even India, where they have that disengagement agreement. I think that essentially Xi Jinping is worried about Trump's tariffs. The other thing that we're seeing, Jake, is China is driving down the value of its currency, which means that American consumers are already being benefited by the Trump tariffs. I think that the Chinese are forcing their currency down because they're worried about the effect of the Trump tariffs on their exports, which means all these experts in New York and Washington who tell us that the American consumers pay for Trump's tariffs, they're wrong. What's happening is China is paying for the tariffs, and it's doing it even before Trump has taken the oath of office. This is just extraordinary.
We're so pleased to have with us this morning Gordon Chang. Gordon's new book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. We're looking for Christmas gifts. This is a great opportunity to pick up Gordon's latest book because China is going to be in the news a lot this year for various reasons, military reasons, economic reasons. And that book is just perfect reading for perhaps for yourself or someone you love this holiday season. Gordon, the Chinese economy, as you've been telling us in your recent visits to this broadcast, is in tatters. So if Trump goes ahead and punishes China with additional tariffs, is that going to put political pressure then on the Chinese Communist Party with its own people? What say you?
Yeah, extreme pressure because Xi Jinping right now, because he's turned his back on consumption as the basis of the Chinese economy, is relying solely on exports to rescue a grave situation. And that means he needs access to the U.S. market. If Trump imposes tariffs on China, as he talked about, a 60% across the board tariff, which is what he mentioned to Maria Bartiromo, it means China's basically shut out of the United States. And already it's having an effect, Jake, because Steve Madden, the American apparel and footwear manufacturer, just a few hours ago announced it was moving about 45% more of its production out of China. They've been doing that since
Really?
2021, getting out of China. So really what we're talking about is the Trump tariffs already having an effect, and on both ends, American manufacturers as well as the Chinese tariff situation.
You know, Gordon, I know that Trump has taken a lot of heat over this tariff thing, but he still does. He has the leverage, and our enemies are responding to that leverage, correct?
Yeah, I mean, this is a more peaceful world than it was 5 or 6 days ago.
Wow.
And I think that, you know, we don't know for 100% what's going through Xi Jinping's mind, but the fact that I think that he started to see that Trump was going to win, and he started to cool it. So whatever the reason is, we're in a little bit better place than we were 7 days ago.
Wow. One of our producers, Bob, asked a question of you, Gordon. Reagan ended the Cold War by threatening to nuke Russia massively. I'm not sure. He kind of was kidding about that comment about dropping nuclear bombs on Russia. It was a joke picked up by a hot mic. However, assuming the USA still has that capacity, do you think Trump may make that same threat to China? What say you, Gordon?
Yeah, I don't think that Trump would do that. He's not very warlike.
But he doesn't like war. He does not like war, right? Yeah.
And we didn't have wars during his 4 years in office, but we did have wars during Biden's years. And Biden doesn't like wars either, but Biden's policies were just so atrocious that they opened the door to Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and the guys who are running Iran. So, yeah, I don't think Trump would make that threat. But Trump will get things done. And I think Trump has a really good shot at reestablishing peace and stability in the world.
What about the reset with North Korea? Kim Jong-un obviously started to revert back to what he's done in the past. Trump had a pretty good relationship with him. What about pushing the reset button, Gordon, with Kim Jong-un in North Korea?
You know, Trump may try to do it, but I don't think it's possible now. North Korea is a very different place. It's got its troops in Ukraine, which has fundamentally changed the war. Also, it's got real problems at home. And so I don't think Kim Jong-un is in any mood to negotiate with anybody in good faith, including the United States.
Our producer, Eric, asks of you, is China in any position now to threaten the United States now that Sheriff Trump is soon to take over, Gordon?
The Chinese are threatening. Yes, they always do that. That's par for the course. And they have ways to retaliate. But nonetheless, those threats are hollow for the most part. Because remember, we run these enormous trade deficits with China. Trade surplus countries don't do fare well in trade wars. We know that because we were the trade surplus country in the 1930s, and we suffered more than any other country during the Great Depression.
Producer Wolf, excuse me. How long can the People's Republic of China's economy hold out before the crash, Gordon? It's in pretty bad shape now. What say you? Good question.
That's a fantastic question, and I wish I had the answer because I've been wrong on this consistently. But right now, the problem is that they are not they're not growing in all probability. If they're growing, it's like 0.5%. Certainly not at the 4.6% pace that they claimed for the third quarter. But even if they were growing at 4.6, they would not be producing enough output to service their debt. They have a closed economy, so they can keep this going a lot longer than most people think. But it's inevitable. This is gonna fail, and it's almost surely gonna fail spectacularly. So I'd put it a couple of years, but I've been wrong before.
The J-35 fighter jet now, I guess, is in the Chinese arsenal. As a matter of fact, I think they just rolled out this supersonic jet last week. This J-35 technology, was that stolen from the United States?
Absolutely. Of course it was. I mean, the plane looks like a copy of the F-35. I mean, there's some minor differences in the configuration of the vertical stabilizers, a little bit of change in the wings. The cockpit's a little bit narrower. But yeah, if you weren't paying attention, you would think a J-35 is actually one of our F-35s.
And is that for a planned invasion of Taiwan? Is that why this plane is perhaps so dangerous right now?
Well, it's dangerous because, we have the U.S. Air Force, and I think this was a big mistake, has put, so much emphasis on the F-35. I mean, it is the core of the U.S. Air Force right now. Mm-hmm. And it's a pig of a plane. It's not nearly as agile as an F-35 or an F-22, but it's effective because of its stealth. But if it's not stealthy, and the Chinese, because they have the plans, can probably defeat the stealth, then our Air Force and allied air forces around the world, which rely on the F-35, are going to be in a very bad place. So I'm really concerned about this.
Gordon, thank you so much for coming on short notice, and please thank your lovely bride Lydia for getting you on this morning. This is very, very interesting of how this relationship between the United States and the People's Republic of China is going to change. Final question, do you think it's going to be what it was during Trump's first term? The Chinese have obviously learned that, you can't predict what Donald Trump is going to do. Is that in his favor and our favor?
Oh, absolutely. And we saw this when Trump and Xi Jinping were at Mar-a-Lago in April 2017.
Right.
Trump over dinner, announces the missile strike on Syria, and Xi Jinping goes quiet.
I remember that. You can follow Gordon on X, as I do, at Gordon G. Chang. My friends, order Gordon's new book. You will not be sorry. Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Gordon, how's the new book going for you?
It's going very well. It's like number one on some Amazon categories. And this book, I think, because it changes the way we look at China. I wrote it because our leaders just misunderstand China's fundamental challenge and malicious challenge to the United States. So I hope it changes opinions.
It has, and it will, and I'm glad it's getting the exposure that it deserves. Gordon, thank you so much for coming on our digital interactive broadcast this morning.
Well, thank you so much, Jake. I really appreciate it.
God bless. You're listening and watching Your News Talk America Digital Interactive and loving it.
Here's a look at your Delmarva forecast. Bright sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 71. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 43. Daytime highs approaching 59 tomorrow. Bright sunshine expected. Turning warmer Sunday and Monday with highs from the mid-60s to the low 70s. Scattered showers possible both days. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center, inland. Currently 70.
Where Delmarva comes to talk. 92.7 and 98.5. WGMD. Delmarva's Choice. WGMD.
Broadcasting from the Lincicome Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
This is the Sean Hannity Show.
Bothers me that they think so little of us. When people, like when my kids were young and they would try to lie to me, and I'd say, you gotta stop. You're insulting my intelligence. They're insulting all of us. I say, oh no, this is not a recession. Yes, it is a recession. Yeah, but unemployment is low. We haven't even reached pre-pandemic levels of employment. Stop lying about that too.
Let's talk about it.
Sean Hannity, Monday through Friday nights at 9 on 92.7, The Talk of Delmarva.
If you can't find your favorite Talk of Delmarva shows on the WGMD app, here's a tip. Download the WGMD app from the Apple Store or Google Play on your smartphone. Open the app and click on the red box on the upper left of the screen to reveal a pull-down menu. Click on Other Stations, then click on 92.7 or 98.5. Then enjoy your favorite shows from the Talk of Delmarva.
Have
Have you checked out today's picture of the day? The Talk of Delmarva wants to share your pictures. Send us your shots of summer fun, fall colors, winter holidays, or spring flowers. It's up to you. It doesn't matter if your picture is taken with a 35mm camera, a tablet, or a cell phone. Just be sure your picture is taken somewhere on Delmarva. Tell us your name and where you're from, and where on Delmarva the picture was taken. Send your shots to media@WGMD.com for the Talk of Delmarva's Picture of the Day. The Possum Point Players will hold auditions for their 2025 season opener, God of Carnage, on Friday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. and Saturday, November 23rd at 1 p.m. at the Possum Hall in Georgetown. Callbacks will be Monday, November 25th at 7 p.m. The play requires 2 females and 2 males for roles of parents in their mid-30s to mid-40s with school-aged children. For more information, go to the community calendar under the Extras tab at thetalkofdelmarva.com.
Mike Bradley and the WGMD morning team, honoring and working hard to follow in the footsteps of some of the best that came before on Delmarva Morning Radio, including Johnny Williams, Bob Smith, Bill Phillips, C.R. Hook, and Mike and Sandy. Mike and the team values the radio history here on the peninsula and is committed to continuing the great tradition here on 92.7 and 98.5 WGMD, the talk of Delmarva.
Salute the Troops is safely brought to you by your local gun tender, Stuart Jones at Delmarva Law Enforcement Supply.
Salute the Troops remembers with honor United States Army Specialist 4, Victor Eugene Press, who hailed from Wilmington. Victor Eugene Press was born on December 27, 1941. His tour in Vietnam began on July 15, 1966. In all, Specialist 4 Press served 6 years in the United States Army as an artilleryman with the 196th Light Infantry Brigade. Specialist 4 Press was killed on April 1, 1967 in Tay Ninh Province at the age of 25 when he was struck and killed by enemy small arms fire. He was buried in St. Paul's Cemetery in Newcastle. Salute the Troops honors the ultimate sacrifice in Vietnam of U.S. Army Specialist 4, Victor Eugene Press. If not for Press's ultimate sacrifice in defense of freedom in South Vietnam, this nation could not. This nation would never have remained free. May this grateful nation never forget United States Army Specialist 4, Victor Eugene Press from Wilmington. For Salute to Troops, I'm Jake Smith.
Delmarva Law Enforcement Supply welcomes all, not just law enforcement. Visit and sit with Stuart to find the perfect custom firearm, ammo, apparel, gun safes, hunting gear, accessories, or to browse and find the perfect WeatherTech gear. Serving and saluting Delmarva for almost 2 decades. You can find them on Iron Branch Road in Dagsboro. Open Monday through Saturday. Just look for the banner that says Guns. Support your local gun tender today.
Broadcasting from the Lincicome Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
Salute the Troops remembers with honor United States.
We're back on Digital Interactive Friday, your News Talk America. It has been a busy one at that. And I'm so pleased you could join us this morning, whether it was via watching on dial, realnewstalk.com, or via Facebook Live. I'm so pleased that you could watch our broadcast this morning. Or if you're listening via terrestrial radio, thank you for joining us. There was some interesting conversation in the chat room going on in Dial Chat while I was talking with Gordon Chang about our posture with China. And I want to thank producer Matthew and producer Brian for your interesting take on the problems with doing business with China. I have to admit that in 1992, as a Republican, I did not vote for George H.W. Bush. I voted for Ross Perot. Why? Because Ross Perot said that this globalization, which the Bushes supported, by the way, was going to be, remember that huge sucking sound? That resonated with me as a voter in 1992. And although there was little chance that Ross Perot could win the election and take office in 93, Bill Clinton obviously did, but the fact of the matter is I voted for what I believed in, and that was that we cannot allow American jobs to be stolen out of our country. The globalists like that because it weakens the United States of America. President Trump's commitment to bring these jobs back and to punish companies who take jobs out of America, such as John Deere and other companies, it resonated with the working class in this country on Tuesday. It did, or if you voted earlier. So if Ross Perot was here, I think he would smile and say, see, I told you. But when you go to the store, when you order something online, take the extra step to see where it's made. Gordon Chang has been on either the radio show or our digital interactive broadcast before, and I've asked him repeatedly about the damage that the American consumer could do to Communist China, to the Chinese Communist Party, if we stop buying their stuff. Now, look what happened in Germany just a few weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I guess, Volkswagen announced that they were closing factories for the first time in history. Germany is Volkswagen's closing their factories in Germany. Why? Because China has dumped their cars in the German market. People started buying Chinese-made cars and not cars from Volkswagen. And as you know, Volkswagen also owns Audi. So the fact of the matter is the Germans are finding out the hard way. President Trump took a stand against those factories, those car factories that China was building just across the border in Mexico. And what happened? Once he started hammering that point that he was going to slap a 100% tariff on those cars coming into the United States, guess what happened? China abandoned building those factories. And in addition, there are other situations now. You heard Gordon Chang say, President Trump winning that election, the world has suddenly, in just a few days, become a much safer place. You know, there was something to what Teddy Roosevelt said. You know, walk softly, but carry a big stick. Donald Trump doesn't walk softly. He walks loudly and carries a big stick. I'm not sure walking softly in the new world order that we have today is as effective as Donald Trump. He obviously believes in talking strongly, acting strongly, and walking and whacking with a big stick. That's it. So we'll pick it up again on Monday on Your News Talk America. I am going to spend quite a bit of time talking about the fact that the election's over, and guess what's returned to the United States and other parts of the world? The anti-Semitism is back. It's back here. It reared its ugly head in Amsterdam last night, and we're going to get to the bottom of it and talk about that on Monday's edition of Your News Talk America. I want to thank Snerdley for doing a great job in the director's chair. I want to thank Mark Giuliani, Walt Palmer, all of our producers that logged on. It was bigger than I've ever seen it, and I'm so glad that you have found your way to realnewstalk.com and have become a part of this broadcast. I hope it continues. I enjoy working with you together at realnewstalk.com. Have a great weekend. We'll pick it up on Monday. Remember, you have a voice. Make sure your voice is heard and seen loud and clear. Millie, you're home.
92.7 WGMD Rehoboth Beach.